So today we're going to be learning about the Beaver Adaptations lesson. To introduce this lesson, you're going to tell your students that they are going to be exploring a habitat where beavers once lived. To do this, students will have to become familiar with beaver adaptations. So before going out to Minister Lake, your first activity is to dress-up activity. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask one of your students to be a volunteer. That volunteer is going to come stand in the front of the room, and then you're going to ask the students if they know any certain adaptations of a beaver. Each object that you have in your bin is a beaver adaptation. So we have flippers for their webbed feet, a vest for the inside and outside fur of a beaver, a raincoat for their waterproof fur, comb for their feet, earmuffs for their hearing, goggles for their nictitating membranes, nose plugs for their nose, and a tail, and an oil can for the oil glands that beavers have. An alternative way to do this is also we have cards in the bin that have beaver adaptations on them, and you can pull them out and ask the students which ones they think go with which object. So you do this part of the lesson before you take the students to Minister Lake. The next part of the lesson would be to introduce them to what they're going to be looking for when they go to Minister Lake. So in your lesson plan box, you have a picture of a beaver colony. So you can explain to the students what a lodge looks like, what some of the area around the lake will look like if a beaver lived there. You can show them some pictures of beavers and possibly even some of the wood that you have, and let your students know that this is what they'll be looking for when they get to Minister Lake. So when you take your students down to Minister Lake, gather them around and have them brainstorm certain things that they would find that would be evidence of a beaver living on the lake. After they brainstorm, split them up into groups of 2 or 3 depending on how large your group is, and let them explore the area for about 10 minutes and look for any signs that they can find. After 10 minutes, bring them back together and talk about what they found, and they can discuss if it was a tree or if they did find remnants of a lodge, and then what if they think the beavers are old or young based on what they have learned from the lesson. So when you return from Minister Lake with your students, you're going to wrap up your lesson, and there are 4 optional wrap-up activities in the lesson plan that you can choose from. The first one is called Beaver Legends, where you'll have your students write and create their own beaver legend, and if you have time, you can have the students prepare a skit and act it out. The second one is called Adaptation Comparisons, where the students will compare the adaptations that they've learned about beavers to their own adaptations that they have. The third one is called What If, where you'll have students hypothesize what would happen if one of the adaptations that a beaver has is gone. And the last one is called Fun Facts and Secret Messages, where you'll go through the fact cards with the students for them to learn more fun facts about beavers.